everyone, it's Jono here. So it's Suicide Awareness Month, and I thought I would do a live just to share a bit. Excuse me. Been having some fruit, so I've got a tickly throat. It's better. So the reason why I'm doing this live is because it's Suicide Awareness Month, and it's something that's close to my heart and has changed the course of my life in a very big way. When I first experienced even the thought of suicide and what it really means to me, and how it affected me as well. It is something that's real. It's something that sits behind the scenes. No one really talks about it. So it's one of those unspoken truths. And if you know what I do and what I love talking about, it's the unspoken truths about negativity, tension, stress, emotions, the negative emotions, the things that cause us to be unhappy and upset. Suicide is the tops it up for me. Suicide is such a heavy word, and it's such a heavy topic, and not everyone enjoys talking about it, which is, it's understandable. It is a very hard topic and it's very, very daunting to talk about, but it is real, and the signs are there. The signs are there, and it's funny in a way that I came across. It's not really funny, but just the other day I came across a image to show signs of suicide and how to recognize them. And it was very spot on for a reason, because it's true. Because I'm sure the person who created it did their research about what signs to look out for in terms of suicide. Everything. Evening, Claire. Good to see you. You can't always see pain, which is true, right? This is the one that I saw. So when someone starts putting affairs in order, which could be pretty normal, so it's not very, it's not very obvious. And things like withdrawal is a huge one. It isn't just because we're introverted and we like to rest and hide away from people. No, withdrawal is when you actually disconnect from everyone, even contact, and even talking, speaking, or engaging, even a conversation, right? It's easy to recognize people who's just saying, I need to recharge. Fair enough. If you're an introvert, you know what I'm talking about. We recharge a lot of the times. If we spend 2 to 3 days with people, we need at least 4 to 5 days to recover. That is just how some of our introvertness works. But withdrawal, in another way, is not even wanting to speak or engage in conversations or even hang out. So when you keep asking people to come out and they're like, oh, no, don't want to come out, and all those, you ask them why and go, oh, just don't feel like it. That's the kind of language some of us use. Particularly throat is not going away. Increase drug or alcohol use. Now, I didn't suffer from this one when I was going through that episode of the negative thought process. And I've never been a drinker. I never really been a drug addict or drug user. So I never went ahead and got those kind of things. It never occurred to me. Giving away possessions. This was a huge one. one of my friends that did take their own lives was, and prior to that, was giving away a lot of their possessions on Facebook and stuff. And, you know, you just kind of think, oh, some friends are doing a clear out. Pretty standard, right? You know, you feel like after a year or so, you feel like emptying your wardrobe, do a fresh clean out, spring clean, whatnot. I think it was like a day after or 2 days after I saw that post. We was told that they have already taken their own lives and they're no longer with us. So the sign was there, but I didn't spot it. And yes, to this day, I feel it grips my heart every time I think about it, because it felt like I could have done more. I could have just reached out and asked if everything was okay. You know, it would have taken a few minutes or so, 10 seconds to reach out to someone on Facebook nowadays. Just to see how they are, right? But and that's one thing that I've noticed about me is I'm terrible at reaching out and staying connected with my network. Good evening, Judy. Great to see you. Yeah, when someone who has been very depressed appears to make a sudden recovery. Yes and no. I think sometimes they just think it through. It takes time to think it through. I don't know. It's hard. It creeps. This thing just creeps up on you, so you never know. Sometimes you just need a bit of clarity or a bit of breakaway to get that, recovery, sudden recovery. I mean, it took me a week or two, maybe a month. It took me a month, I suppose. When I did have it, I was ill for about a month. So which was my reason for being in that negative episode, was because I was just really ill and didn't feel like doing anything, didn't feel like getting up, didn't feel inspired, didn't feel like I had the purpose, was just ill and irritated and angry, frustrated. So there's a lot of things that when you're ill, you just feel like, crap, right? So, and having that thought process in the back that didn't help. But to my friend that gave away possessions, and I didn't get to spot and stay connected, I still ask myself to this day, what would have happened had I reached out and shared some of the stuff that I've learned over the years of personal development, emotional mastery, mindset, all that kind of personal development stuff that I've been spending thousands of pounds on, right? What if I just shared with her some of my learnings and insights from it? Would it have made a difference? Would it have changed her perception? Would it have changed her perspective? Would it have changed her thought process? Would they still be here now had I reached out? Never know. But that's the regret and thing that grips my heart every time someone talks about suicide and all that kind of things. It's a topic that's close to my heart, and one that I would talk about openly, share my story, and hope that it inspires someone else to overcome it, because it's just a negative thought. I wouldn't say it's just. There's a lot of things that build up towards towards this process, or even having the thought of doing so, of taking their own lives. And something must have happened along the way, loads of different times, and they just simply had enough and just thought, F it, time to just move on and just escape the pain, right? That's the thought process that we go through. when we think about suicide. Well, at least I did anyway. Was because I was ill for nearly a month and I was just in pain. And I was just like, if this is not going away, so might as well just go, right? It's just that sometimes it just takes that kind of stupid thinking, but that's part of how it worked. What else was there? Anger was one, a huge one. No sense of purpose, mentioned that one. Sudden mood changes. This one was also me. Back 10 years ago, I would say my mood swings was terrible. I would have very sudden mood swings. I'd be happy one moment, next minute I could be very angry, and the next minute I could be very upset. I had no sense of control, I had no sense of control over my emotions. So 10 years ago, I was about 23, just after uni. Yeah, so just graduating also. So I never knew anything about emotions, anger, depression, sadness, positivity. Didn't really start personal development then. So none of that knowledge I had learned or knew about. So I was just having, teenager, adult mood swings. I can't remember, whatever you want to call them. Growing up, adulting. how to become more mature or become more mindful. Who knows? But I was just a rampant, angry kid. No sense of direction. Obviously, just graduating, wouldn't know. But I just never had control over my emotions. So I think after graduating, I did make a point of it to learn to master my emotions. And which is why nowadays everyone says, Jono, you're always so calm. Was because I knew exactly how it is like to not be calm. I was a handful back then. Nowadays, you see me calm, quiet, collective, conscious. 10 years ago, opposite story, right? But that was my commitment to master my emotions, was because I knew that I couldn't just keep becoming angry every 5-10 minutes for no apparent reason. And it wouldn't benefit me and my friends and people in my circle. So emotional mastery, personal development, Tony Robbins, all that stuff, good jazz that I learned over the years has helped me become more aware of what goes on in my mind and what goes on in my thought process and what goes on in other people. That was another important part. I wanted to learn about emotional mastery was so that I could be more aware of my friends and family that suffer similar situations and prevent them from suffering similar situations. I suppose why coaching, again, is part of what I do. Feeling hopeless, helpless, desperate. And this was very me when I was suffering after my corporate burnout. I was feeling hopeless because I wasn't feeling any better. I wasn't getting better. It felt like I was just having this... I was going through a physical and mental burnout. So I was working at least 15-hour days, 12 to 15-hour days, 5 days a week, sometimes weekends, to prep and plan for the next week, or the week after. I didn't enjoy corporate. This is why. Maybe I'd had a different experience for corporates than everyone else's, but this was mine, and it kind of made me realize what was important and what's not. So being bedridden for 3.5, 4 weeks, feeling hopeless, feeling helpless, wasn't getting better. wasn't contributing a lot to family or work because I was just bedbound. Desperate. I was desperate to get out of it. Safe to say, shortly after I suffered my corporate burnout, I handed my notice in which changed the direction of my whole life because I decided to start helping others in leadership, which gave birth to Limit Break Lifestyle, which was to help people find their purpose, find clarity, find themselves, and finding their voice. So that's what Limit Break Lifestyle was born to be doing, and where I set my path onto helping others, which gave up, the corporate salary and the corporate lifestyle, the corporate credit card, all the corporate stuff, which also meant cutting all the lovely corporate salary as well. But over this, few years, it's given me more clarity about the direction I want to go in and why terrible. Why talking about suicide is such an important topic, and why we need to keep raising the awareness and keep talking about it. And no matter how uncomfortable it is, it's a topic that we need to talk about and discuss. Carrying on with the awareness, pain that you don't see, changes in sleep pattern. That's a big one. Anxiety or agitation. So my constant mood swings of anxiety and agitation for no apparent reason. Reckless behavior. I could say I made a lot of reckless decisions over the back then. And then obviously, if this is not clear cut enough, is talking about wanting to die or suicide. And this one I spoke about to my business partner when I had a Skype call with him, just as I was recovering from my corporate burnout. I was asking him for some advice. I said, bro, this corporate lifestyle isn't for me. I need to do something else. Otherwise, I want to die. That's as clear cut as it was to him. And obviously, I'm not sure if he was aware of that message, or I was just joking, or just something that I just said because it felt like that. Right? It felt like I just wanted to die because I had no sense of purpose. I didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't enjoying corporate life, and if I'm not working in corporate, what else could I do? So he said, bro, what do you want to do? Simple as that. So I said, I want to help people have more clarity in their life, find purpose, and have more, finding themselves. That was it. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I just knew that was what I wanted to do. Fast forward, I suppose a year after that was when we started the company. Then we started to do more self-awareness training. Then we started to find more direction in how we want to take our training, how we want to help more people. And which, it helped us create our podcast series with Live Your Truth. We carried out at least I think 8 to 10 events. I think we did about 12 events over the course. Did more than 12 events, I'm sure, or training in the space of 2 years. I think we ran like 20 or so, including advanced ones. But anyway, that brought to light more about what we wanted to do and just see if it was something that we wanted to do in the long run, right? But it gave us a taster of what it was like to help people with their life journey, with their consciousness, with their choices that they make, with them breaking through old negative habits or thought processes, and understanding why people have these thought processes. And it gave us a lot more clarity about our direction and our strengths, and also our partnership. How I was able to shift from just doing digital marketing and all the back end stuff to start doing more coaching and more leadership and discovery process work. Whereas he led the training and he was more a teacher, he was more of an educator, and he found more of his wisdom becoming a teacher than anything else. It gave us more clarity about our strengths and our weaknesses as well. But without this topic about suicide and why it's such a hard, close topic to my heart, it's because without it, I would not have found my direction. Scary in a way, because it is suicide and it's a heavy topic. No one talks about it. It's painful. It's one that you have to be very open to being vulnerable when you're talking about this stuff. And I'm happy to open up and talk about this kind of stuff because I've been through it, I've done it, I've overcame it, and I lived through it, right? I've got to the point where it's no longer an issue for me, so I can openly talk about it, openly challenge people on it, openly listen to people on it, and openly carry on life as normal with it, because it's brought the best out in me. Without it, without the adversity of overcoming it, I wouldn't have become the person I am today. It's tough, it sucks, it's hard, but it's doable. With the right choices, with the right support, with the right people around you, it's okay not to be okay. And I say this with love because not everyone knows how to listen about this subject. And I thank you all for who's tuning in and listening to this, because not everyone is able to listen to this topic and understand the pain that comes through with this topic. A lot of people think they've got what it takes to listen, to about this kind of issue, but they wouldn't have a clue how to attack it or how to tackle it or how to solve it, right? It's one thing listening, it's another thing to try and provide a solution. And some people say, oh, you just need to listen to them. It's like, no, there's more to just listening. You need to go into detail about where they are, why they're feeling like this. And you need to put in the empathy, you need to put in the compassion, you need to understand where they're coming from. Because at that moment when they're going through this, what they want is security, certainty, and a bit of direction. They want help, serious help. And had it not been for Ik listening out to what I had to say, what I was talking about, and providing me a direction, may or may not be here right now. and that's a serious thing. And I didn't even tell my fiance about this issue I had because I kept it silent. I didn't want her to worry, and I was being selfish. I thought I had it covered. Obviously, I didn't if I wanted to take my own life, right? She only found out about this, I think it was 2 or 3 years after I had that issue. I shared this in one of our trainings to our clients. And the reason why I shared it was because it was part of the premise that we was teaching about our emotions and our thought processes and going through that cycle. And it was about vulnerability as well. So I shared something openly to them, and which made me more comfortable sharing now to you on camera, on live, broadcasted on Facebook, on YouTube, wherever this is broadcasted out to on social media openly. I'm okay with that. I've gone through and done that. I've gone through and overcome it. I'm okay. I'm not going through any suicidal thoughts. Just so you know. But I know how hard it is to be in that situation. And if anyone is struggling with it, please feel free to reach out to me, to a friend, to someone that Samaritans, any people that works or have gone through this situation themselves and overcame it as well. Okay. Not the ones that keep going through it and not the ones that keep living in the past. You need to be careful about who you reach out to, who you talk to about this stuff. Because if you talk to people who's in the same situation as you are when you're going through this thought process, you'd only bring each other down, right? You're just dragging each other down even more. But if you talk to someone who's already overcome it, who's, high in energy and positive and living through a different path, they'll be able to pull you up and carry you up and pull you over the line. Those are the ones you want to speak to. The ones that could help, the ones that's trained. Samaritans, they're all trained to deal with this kind of stuff. There's coaches that, conscious self-awareness coaches that's gone through training. I've gone through 5 years of self-awareness consciousness training in order to talk about this openly and deal with the conflicts within to do this stuff. But find people who's okay with this stuff. There's a lot of trainers who talk about mental health and issues and trainers. So those are the ones to reach out to. And don't be scared to talk to someone about it. And because I think if I was scared to talk to my business partner Ike about it, I wouldn't even be here right now. Simple as that. If I did not reach out and ask for help, I'd be gone now. But I thought I'd just share this because it was something that was close to my heart, and it's Suicide Awareness Month, and it just felt like I had to talk and raise this awareness about suicide awareness and openly share and talk to everyone about how I went through it and how I overcame it and what you can do to get help. So if you do spot people with these signs that I talked about in this video, if you missed it, watch the replay, #replay, and hopefully it'll help someone who may be struggling right now, especially after what's going on with the world. It's easy to be sucked in negativity. It's easy to be dragged down in all the noise and not even knowing where your own thought process is. So take that time out just to be alert and be aware of these kind of signs and reach out to more of your friends. That's an advice for myself, to reach out to more of my friends, because I've been really terrible, and I've noticed that, and it's something I'm changing, is that I am messaging an old friend that I haven't spoken to for 1 to 2 or 3 years or longer, just to catch up, see how they are, and if everything's okay. Because so much stuff that we do in our lives, we get so caught up with our own business, our own goals, our own family lives, our careers, that we kind of forget about our friends and our family around us. And we only have one life, so make it memorable, make it lasting, make it positive, and keep living, keep positive, keep living, keep creating happy memories. So I thought I'd just share that. Hope you all found this useful, and thank you all for tuning in to such a heavy topic. I know a lot of my Facebook Lives has been very heavy. I suppose I don't do service level talk stuff. I can't get away with talking about the weather and, the service level stuff. I love the deep talk. I love the why you do what you do, what you're here to set out to do, why you're feeling like crap. I love the nitty-gritty detail stuff. So that's it for me. Remember to live life no limits, and thank you all for tuning in. See you in the next video.